and it let out this blood-curdling, guttural scream.
On the side of the road, he sees a deer carcass and something eating on it, which he thought was a bear. And as the lights hit it, it stood up. And, like, this gives me chills talking about it. He said it stood up and it had the face of a man.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Bigfoot Live, man. Friday night Bigfoot Live. Right here, I'm flashing one of our new mugs, the Bigfoot of America podcast show mug. It is very similar to, oh my gosh, I don't want to spell it, the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series mug. So, yeah, we're excited to have gotten all that in recently. And as you can see, we've got some new tech. Podcast studio looks a little bit different. We've been working on this past, 2 to 4 weeks. We're going to be able to share some pictures today. That is so exciting. We're getting up to par. You know, it's been a long journey. I focused so much on the TV series, which we're going to get back to here shortly. Season 3 is going to start getting released on July 31st. So remember that. Now I'm going to bring in some of my co-hosts, and we're going to talk a minute about the town hall meeting September 26th, Gladwin, Michigan, at the Lodge. I might even be getting up there tomorrow because we have to seriously think about expanding. The reason I wasn't here last week is I was down at the Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival in Kentucky. Got to see, big names speak like Adam Davies and Russell, the guy from Bigfoot Expedition. A lot of big names there, but we got to feel for the lay of the land, how the vendors set up, the food truck set up. So now we just need to get up to where we're going to have it, and we got to see how the spacing is and how many vendors we can have, how many food trucks, and we're going to go for it, man. I got so energized by that. We're going to go for it, and we're going to make it hopefully a yearly thing that grows. But with that said, let's go ahead and bring in some of our co-hosts because we got a few today. Pretty exciting. Cheri, Radu, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. I'm good.
Awesome. Okay, right now I'm loving this new tech, and hopefully we won't have any issues. But you're my co-anchor there. I appreciate that. Let's bring Brenda Goodwin in. Hi, Brenda.
Hello. Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
Hi, Brenda.
Are you going to do it? Are you going to flash your new t-shirt that I finally sent to you after 6 months? There you are, ladies and gentlemen, whoever likes pink. That is, man, I got a black one. And Cheri, I'll try to get you a black one as well. You said you like black.
Yes, I do.
I love that logo. What do you think about that logo, Brenda?
I love it.
Walking behind the bomb.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. And the state on the bottom is a little different too.
Yep. A little more clear.
Cool.
I
love it.
Fantastic. All right, good news. And this isn't just Michigan anymore. It's the Bigfoots of America podcast show. And we're getting bigger nationwide. And here's one of my guys. We're going to go ahead and bring him in. Kevin True from the great state of Colorado. What's going on, my man?
Hello, everyone. How you doing? I'm doing good. It's good seeing you all, and I love your new pink T-shirt there, Brenda.
Thank you.
Looks good. I want one, maybe a black one. I'd even wear the pink.
Aren't you tough enough to wear pink?
I'm securing my manhood. I would for B.O.A. Yeah, I would wear the pink.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to get Kevin some truck magnets. We've been talking about that.
Yeah.
He's expanding out there in Colorado. And, hey, we're Bigfoot of Michigan. We're Bigfoot of America. Why not Bigfoot of Colorado? So that's pretty cool.
Right on.
All right. Let's go ahead and bring Cheryl Green in, our other moderator. Hey, Cheryl Green.
Good afternoon.
How are ya?
you guys today?
Doing
great.
Great.
Doing good.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
to see you.
Hello.
Good to have you on the show. Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. And if the tech goes well, I'm going to upload some pictures and we're going to be able to walk through those because Cheri, Radu, you went out with, Bryan Barber was on the show, just a couple weeks ago, within the last month. And oh my goodness, his encounters, his life story of interacting with Bigfoot, his everything above. And so I was totally jealous. I had to go to Kentucky, but you got out there with him out into the field and you got some pictures, and we're going to go through those pictures today. But let's first go ahead and bring Bryan Barber in. Hi, Bryan. How are you?
Good. How we doing?
Doing spectacular. Thanks for coming back on the show. It's stuck in my brain. The whole peanut butter thing has stuck in my brain. Matthew Sexton went out to one of our locations. He texted me and he's like, look, I know you've been here. Here's a peanut butter jar. Yep, there it is. And all right, kids. So I'm going to start with the recent Bigfoot activity, and then we'll jump to Bryan and we'll talk to Cheri about what they encountered. I should show it. I wonder if I could show it. All right, we're going to try something. We got all this new tech, and I'm going to see if it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, because I'm only allowed to, man, I don't even know. Hold on a second here, guys. I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to send this picture, but I put out a peanut butter jar. And I tell you what, I'll do that in a little bit when we're talking about it. I put out a peanut butter jar, and it's where I believe a female and a youngster is. Reason being is because I found two of my most prominent footprints and a baby footprint out there at a certain location. We're not talking about locations anymore. And with that, we'll talk more. Cheryl, I'm thinking about what we talked about. Cheryl Green, I'm thinking about what we talked about last night on the phone. And so we'll talk about that when we're not live. Very important stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. But so anyways, I leave out a peanut butter jar and something happened at my bedroom window again. And the only way I can describe it is if you combine a metallic sound with a glass sound and a shrieking sound. I was dead asleep, and all of a sudden, all of those things at an enormous volume woke me out of a dead sleep. I come out of the room. I'm like, Lord, did you hear that? Did you hear? And she's sitting there drinking coffee on her phone, like, hear what? So what I heard was thunderous, and it woke me out of my sleep, but there was no sign of anything going on. And I know people out there, we try not to board the crazy train too much with this interdimensional stuff, but there are some things you can't deny when certain things happen. And as we take this journey, we're on this show, we're going to do the best we can to explain those things and how they can connect, vibrational frequencies, all of that, how they can slow themselves down and then become physical in our world. And we're not saying, I don't think, hey guys, I don't think we're saying all Bigfoot may have that capability. It's hard to distinguish if some Bigfoot have certain abilities and others have other abilities. But that's what this show is all about, to try to learn about all of those things. But back to you, Bryan Barber. You and Cheri, Radu went out, last Saturday? Is that it?
Sunday. Yep.
Yeah, I'll let Cheri tell, because you guys heard me, so I'd rather hear Cheri's perspective.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cheri, I'm going to start getting those pictures, all right?
Okay.
See if I can collect those.
While you're working on that, I'll give you a little introduction onto the whole event. So Brian Barber and I decided we're going to go out on Saturday and take a look at where he has seen other Bigfoot, and he shared his whole story. And it was like, when he was sharing his story on the live show, it's one thing. But when he's sharing his story in the realm of things, when we're going to the actual places, it was incredible. We were seeing things that were just, I mean, astounding, to the point where it's like you can see a picture like this right here that's on the screen, but you can't see the overall big pictures, the whole big picture around it that surrounds the whole environment. And this picture is very interesting because Brian is standing under a huge like tree structure built, and it's so tall. And Brian, you're 6 foot, and he's raising his hand up. So that's what, another maybe 2-3 feet more above that, 9 feet, and it's still way up there. Some of these tree structures were just so incredible. But what was interesting is on our little journey, and we were walking, we were going through the motions of all the story and the spots that he had experiences on at was incredible, because you could feel this. I mean, in a way, you could feel the vibration of how all this could. I don't even like the energy around it. So we got to a point when we had turned off on a gravel road, and I immediately felt dizzy. And so Brian stopped, and he looked at me, kind of smirked a little bit, and he goes, "Look over there." And that was the spot you had your encounter, right, Brian? And I felt that, and immediately, and I didn't even know where we were at that point. So that was the start of the whole journey and adventure. At that point, after I felt that, I was like, "Whoa, what is going on?" But we ended up driving farther back to like the end of the road, and where we started the whole adventure. And it was incredible to see. Immediately, you could see these structures were all around. And here's the thing: is that the place we were at, and I'm not naming anything, but where we were at was not a private, isolated area without a lot of people around. This place had trails that people were walking on and hiking on, and I mean, there were people around. So this was like all around the area, and yet people were very present, and hikers. And so we were walking out, and we got out of the car, and it was like we were walking around, and he's showing me all these structures, and I was taken by the whole the whole size of the thing, because it was everywhere. It wasn't just one here, and we'll walk 300 yards, we might see another, it was continual. One here, one right there. I mean, it was continual. The information was overwhelming, actually, to me. Now, I was reluctant on taking pictures, because I didn't want to, if they were around, I didn't want them to feel threatened or anything. But we did capture a couple footprints right in that area when we first started walking, and they were very prominent footsteps. They were clear steps in this whole area, and they ranged in sizes. We didn't have like a measuring tape or anything like that to take, but Brian put his foot by it, and I don't know what size boot you wear, but it was way bigger than his foot. Yeah, look at that.
I'm a size 15 shoe.
Wow.
Well, folks. And
Now this is, you mind me
ahead.
chiming in for a moment? This is one of those interesting things where I used to see, like, if you saw something like this, you'd be like, what? That's one footprint in the middle of nowhere. Somebody carried mud over, they made that footprint. But this is what I'm talking about, the possible interdimensional side of things from this footprint here, where it's one. Brian, was there another footprint with that?
Yeah, there were imprints, but that was the best of them.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. But you'll find them like this, or really deep. And I wonder, it's almost like they impact our physical surroundings way more than we do. You know, they sink in an inch to 2 inches into the ground. They make marks like that where the grass, there is no grass, where there might be grass next to it and there should be grass there. They totally flatten it down and even cover it with mud from that might already be on the soles of their feet. So they're very distinguishable.
Yeah, these footprints weren't just like the pad. You could see the toe imprints.
Wow.
So which is even a better print, right? Because, you know, they're actually walking in, you know, heel toe motion. They're not flat footed if they're leaving toe marks. Think about that. So, in where we were at, there were inclines like this one here. Check this out, folks. This is what was Bryan and I were like, whoa, notice the broken branch and the footprints right next to it. So he had somehow stepped on that, broke it, and then set his footprint right next to it. And it was deep. Because even where the branch was that broke was indented into the ground. So there was weight there.
Awesome.
More like he was standing there, or, you know, and stepped on it by accident. It wasn't like a stride print. It was more like they were standing there, or he or she was standing there and stepped on it. You know, that kind of. Yeah.
I've got one similar to that where it stepped on a log. Well, it had a sighting. Michael Bale, he's had a dogman sighting. In fact, this sighting that I'm talking about now correlates with the dogman sighting in Carroll, Michigan 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so around the same time, within 48 hours of each other, the eyewitness in broad daylight saw the dogman. That's on our Dogman Prophecies on Roku TV. I just released it not too long ago, where the person is cutting the church lawn. They look up and there's a dogman there. Well, Michael had a sighting as well south of that. He wasn't sure if it was a dogman or a Sasquatch. So I went there and we measured the face where the branch across the face was about 8.5 feet tall. And we kind of did a bullseye where you just go out and we were looking for him. And sure enough, there was a log and something had stepped on it, like this picture here, and perpendicular, and just the footprint was as plain as day. But the weight of that thing to smush that log like that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we discovered here too. Was like to break that, there was some weight behind it. What's interesting is, and when you bring that picture up, is the gate was, this is where Bryan was real. That was the first thing I saw was when we arrived there was the bent gate. Oh, you got that picture, Bryan?
Yeah. Oh, the bent gate. All right, hold on.
Bring up the one Bryan brought. Bryan,
I was going to say really quick in that picture, right where that branch is, it's amazing how it's right above that mid-tarsal break of its foot. That's quite interesting.
Isn't that interesting? You noticed that too. I saw that too.
You caught that too?
Yeah, caught that too. And I was like, this is a great print. It's like, I wish I had a but these things were all over the place. This wasn't like we hiked all day and found one footprint. We were out there hour and 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We weren't out there very, very long, and we found several footprints.
Oh, I'm looking for another.
Yeah, the one that
you want the gate with the footprints, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
But this is a visual of what the gate is. It's a cattle gate, folks. Is what we're talking about. That they use to kind of block off the parking lot, but you would go through that gate to go on the trails and hike. So that it was kind of like a gate for that, I believe. Also, but the story on that gate, look at that. So it's kind of hard to see, but Bryan, this was your photograph. You want to tell the story when you found that?
Yeah, so it had been fine the week before, but when I pulled in, I noticed it was bent. And you could see 2 footprints in front of the gate and then 2 on the other side of the gate. So in my eyes, I walked up like it put its hand on the gate just to step over it, and whatever the weight was, push it. It went straight down. It wasn't, and there was never any sawdust or anything like a tree had fallen on it, and they cleaned it up. You know, it was just pushed straight down with the imprints on both sides.
And didn't you share with me the information on the specs of the load on those gates with your?
Yeah, a friend of mine, he was curious as he was getting into farming after retiring, and he was curious what the load was. So he used a forklift, and it takes about 800 pounds to push it, that particular gate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which correlates with, you know, I talked last time about finding 23-inch tracks. So that puts you at 11 or 12 footer.
Yeah. That'd be a big boy or girl.
Yeah. She's thick.
Yeah. But this was one of the most interesting parts also, because this was an interaction with something that, you know, tangible that wasn't a tree. To see that type of evidence and to see, you know, where Bryan, especially in Bryan's photograph, the footprints around it. It was just very incredible to see that part of the you know, exploration of it. But the evidence, I mean, when you look at the gate from top down, it's straight down. It's not twisted at all. It's straight down and setting on the bottom of the next rung there. And you can see that next rung is bent. If you look closely,
did it step over? Did it bend it? Do you think it bent it down and stepped over?
Yeah, like when you step on a small guardrail or step over something like a fence, you put your hand down and brace. Because there were prints on both sides.
Yeah, I can attest to that. That takes the pressure to damage those gates, because we've got horses, and I sent a picture of one of my gates that was damaged by a horse, and horses are can be 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds. Yeah, that's it. That's one of them same type of gates damaged by a horse.
Yeah, and see how that leans one way.
Yeah, and that is 1,000, 1,200 pound animal right there that damaged that gate. So it takes a lot of pressure to bend those bars on that gate.
Right.
Wow. But
just
this
like
gate,
that, actually, I was going to say, just like that correlates to the fact that, they weigh that much. I remember the first time I had talked about my story about the mother being up in that tree and how she's about the size of my elk, which was about a 800 to 1,000 pound bull elk. So when it, even when that youth stepped over that log that I was talking about, almost the same scenario with that fence. It's going to bend it no matter how strong that post is, and as strong as they are, it's going to bend like it's a toothpick. And that's it. Totally correlates with what you guys just came up with. Makes perfect sense.
It's interesting. What's interesting about that, Kevin? I had Jay Fountain on the show, and that episode is going to be released on Friday. He talks about a story where there's a bull moose, grazing in the field, and out of the tree line comes flying this huge Sasquatch. And the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, and the bull moose get into it. And the moose is putting up a good fight in the beginning, but that Sasquatch wears that bull moose down and then snaps its neck. So with your correlation of the size of your Bigfoot, Kevin, being the size of those bull elks, and it's amazing the size of Bigfoot and Sasquatch. And what's ringing in my ears is, be careful what you wish for when one of these things come walking out in front of you.
I'm picturing a
I never
scene
wished for it at the beginning, but it happened.
I'm picturing a scene kind of like a rodeo, only on a larger scale as the steer wrestling competition.
Right.
Yeah.
Where them guys jump off their horses and grab the steer and wrestle it down,
Yeah.
and flip it down and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm seeing that Bigfoot in the bull moose, in my mind like that. Yeah.
And then at the end of that wrestling match, that Bigfoot just snaps its neck like nothing. Boom. So
And those are big necks. Those are big necks.
absolutely. Yeah, amazing. Hey, let's check in with everybody who's tuning in. We got a
Sure.
ton of people. George Lunsford. Oh, man. George Lunsford. So excited. I just talked to him before the show. Hey, everybody, if you didn't know, we're on Roku now through the Bigfoot TV app. We're going worldwide. George Lunsford's going to have his own show on there, and I'm so excited about that. So we're going to have multiple paranormal shows on the Bigfoot TV app. So he says hello. Jim Rasmussen says hello to all of you taking the time and put on this amazing show every week for everyone. Jim from Gaylord, Michigan. Jim, we're coming up by we're going to be glad one. Cheri, Brenda, we got to get up there, check out that property at the Lodge, September 26th for the Bigfoot of Michigan Town Hall. We're going to try to get some vendors up there and food trucks this year. Scott Brush says, hey, man. Hey, we got to talk to Scott Brush. He just showed me a picture, and I didn't have time to incorporate it into this show, but it looks like a possible Sasquatch 8 to 9 feet standing behind Scott. It's like a shadow, but it's blurry, and boy, I'll tell you, it matches the physique of a Sasquatch. So Scott says, hey, man. Michael Merrill says, hello, everyone. Brandon Hearns is watching. Hey, Brandon, thanks again for my birthday cake. Brandon Hearns is my girlfriend, Laura, her son. He made me a banana cake for my birthday. I ate half of it like within 48 hours. And it was was it quarter sheet or half sheet? Whatever it is. Yeah. So my goodness. Hey, Jennifer Genter is chiming in right now. Jennifer, in case you didn't know, she's been on the show before, but she is a screenplay writer and very excited. June 27th, I'm going down to a table read with a movie I'm producing called Phantom Moon. So we'll post some of those pictures, right, Jennifer, on social media, give everybody an update of how that production's coming. Pretty cool. Johnny Tucker says we need more bomb. Amen. So much more bomb is coming. And let me put this out there. Big shout out to Susan Moore. Big shout out to Chad Skolton. Big shout out to Donna Copus. All these people, I was supposed to have already been releasing the Bigfoot of Michigan season 3. We had to hold off on that because of the Roku agreement and how I kind of had to rewind, do some re-editing to release. Season 1 has been released. I'm going to start releasing season 2 on Roku, and then that's all got to line up with season 3. Hopefully start being released on July 31st. So Donna Copus says, hello, everyone. Hello, Tim. Donna Copus says, Tammy Boylan is watching. Hello. Farmgate is very heavy, not easy in any way to mash down, says Donna. And then we got, so this is on Facebook. And then, of course, we got people on YouTube right here. John Stewart says he's all on board. Deanna Rakestraw says, hello, everyone. I'm putting these on screen. Brenda, is this what you're talking about? This little, do you see it?
Yes.
Right there. Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
Laura.
those are easier to read.
Yeah, they are.
Yes. She says, happy Friday. All. Very cool. Very cool. What's he say here? Boom. Hello, everyone. Bev Strada says, I just got here. Where was this at? We don't want specific locations, Cheri and Bryan, but what upper portion of the
northeast lower Michigan.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, northwest lower Michigan.
Okay, gotcha. All right, good evening, good people, says Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Brian and Deanna Michael. All right. He says hello to everyone. I think we're caught up on all of that.
Brian,
All right.
got a question for you.
Do it. Go for it, Cheryl Green.
when you, Cheri, and Brenda come up to Gladwin, let's get together because that's only my back door from 15 miles away.
You got it.
And we
Let's
got
do
some
coffee.
good stories up there.
You got like a diner. I'm trying. Oh yeah, that's where Aaron Young's eyewitness account was. Nora Scott is near there in Beaverton. All right, did we go through all the pictures? Let's jump on this. We got the footprint
there's
there.
more to talk about on that because where this footprint was along I called it the playground area, Brian, but this was like a playground area for them. They had this was an old dump site of bottles and like tires and stuff like that. So it was like buried in there. But there was this, what do you call a culvert pipe? That those big culvert pipes that are like cement?
Yeah.
And they're heavy. Brian, you tell the story about that culvert pipe.
That was actually one of my favorite peanut butter spots because it literally appeared out of nowhere. And I can pull 500 pounds from the floor, and I couldn't pick up that pipe. I couldn't pick the end of it up. It's like old sewer, culvert, whatever, concrete pipe. And it literally appeared out of nowhere. And for a couple of years,
in the woods.
Yeah. I mean, there was, I don't see any way to get heavy equipment back there. And why lay a pipe and just leave it?
Yeah.
There was also a fish bowl. And what I would used to do is take the smaller jars of peanut butter and it would fit. And I'd have to push it and kind of pound on it to get the peanut butter into the fish bowl. But then it would sit level. So I put the fish bowl in the pipe, cover it up with, sticks, rocks, whatever, and then leave it. And when I would get back, I would find the fish bowl next to the pipe. And then you walk and then you find the wrapper. And you walk and then you find the lid, walk and find the jar. And so that was a continuous thing for a couple of years up there.
Huh.
Afterwards, though, when I kind of quit using it and started putting rocks in there, it was middle of last year, the pipe got moved about 100 yards through trees and down and actually put up on two logs together, like so it wouldn't roll. And then it stayed there for several months. And then when Cheri and I went back, I said, it's been moved. It had gone halfway down the hill, set in the middle of the hill.
Yep.
And the fish bowl was laying, right next to it. So whatever it was took the time to move the pipe and put the fish bowl next to it as well. And I don't know how you would carry that. It would take a few guys.
Yeah.
Have you seen, like, Brian, in that area? I heard a story one time of a guy, he had moved into, I think it was in Appalachia. Sorry, Jerry, my buddy Jerry. I got to say that correctly. Appalachia. Him and his daughter, and they noticed that especially things in the yard started disappearing. Okay. And then some things in the house periodically. And then he found it a ways off the stash. And long story short, it was a Bigfoot taking stuff for itself and making its own personal stash of personal belongings of humans. Have you noticed? I mean, that pipe is a prime example. Could only be lifted by a Sasquatch. Have you seen any other like human personal effects like out there that shouldn't be out there, and all of a sudden you see, whatever?
With the dump there, it's hard to tell, but I noticed like I talked about, they do take things. Like I didn't find a bunch of the peanut butter jars. That I probably should have found more than what I did, especially last year. The glow in the dark ball.
Yep.
When they brought the ball back and I put a big jar of they use those glow in the dark worms. Apparently fishermen like to use quite a bit. I bought 100 of those, put them in a jar. And when I went back, the jar had been emptied. The jar was left, but the worms were gone. So somebody's out there collecting stuff. that I
Right.
that I find, and we walk the same path all the time. We do venture up looking because obviously we don't think they're going to drop it right on the path, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the clincher with you is you said you numbered the cap and the bottle. And
Yeah.
so you would find lids back on jars, but the numbers wouldn't match any longer. So they had mixed and matched the they're taking lids off and they're putting them back on different jars.
Yeah, without a mark on the jar. So
if I could say something here, that kind of actually reminds me of my sighting when I came across an abandoned camp, and it was eerie. I talked about it, the weathered tents and all. But what I wanted to mention was the fact that when I came across that abandoned camp not too far from my sighting, there was cans of like, just say soup or vegetables, like green beans or something, but for some reason there was no can opener there. But what was interesting is there was spoons and forks still in there on boulders with the labels off. And the cans were there. Yeah, the cans were there for quite some time. So I'm thinking, here, I'd like to do an anniversary of my sighting and go back to Salida. I won't exactly say where, but I'd like to go back, hopefully August 4th, and do a follow-up. I got a buddy of mine who pinged the picture, and we'd like to actually go back. Hopefully he still has it. And when that time comes, I'll do some filming. I'll take some pictures. Hopefully I can match, this picture that's actually behind me. Everybody knows that very well. But yeah, it was just very interesting now that you were talking about that and everything like that, Brian. I'm just wondering, and I just want to get anybody's thoughts. Would, we gift them apples, we gift them all fruits and stuff. But what if somebody was to act, and I was thinking of doing this, I'd like to stay out, and actually just open up just a can of soup, a can of something, which most animals, probably wouldn't, take it or anything like that. Just cut the lid open and then just leave the metal part of the can, which we normally just throw in the trash. Why not just leave it in there and see if something actually happens, and see if maybe they play with it, pull the label, or what? Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was with the peanut butter jars. They would. I literally buy it from the store, take it, put it in the tree. That's it. I don't unscrew the cap. I don't take the tinfoil off. And when I would go out the next time, the peanut butter jar would be gone, and it was a pattern. You would find the label first, completely just unwrapped, not torn out.
okay.
So you got the whole label in one strip, and then you walk around and kind of look around, and then you find the lid, and then you walk around some more, and and then you would find the jar. So it was just like they had a pattern of taking the label off, walking, as they're walking off, like we would do ice cream or something, and drop the wrapper, unscrew the lid, drop that, peel the tinfoil off, drop that, sit somewhere and eat the peanut butter, and then leave the jar.
Something that my son did when he was a kid. You just sit there and eat that peanut butter with your hand. Yep.
I was just sitting here thinking, thanks for doing that.
Gotta love peanut butter.
Well,
Hey
so what
everybody,
was-
I want to chime in real quick. Squatch Topic PA, guy by the name of Josh is watching right now. He just made the comment that they would take his ferro rods. We need to get Josh on this show
Yes.
because what Josh brings to the table blew my mind. He answers a
Yes.
lot of questions about the interdimensional side of things, and he has had a long history of interacting with Sasquatch as well. So I just want to shove that. Hey Josh, how you doing? Good to see you chiming in on the show, and man, we got to get you on for an episode.
Yes,
All right.
please. I was going to mention him tonight because I watched his video that he posted a day or two ago about the Sumerian text. I watched that. It's amazing. Everybody should watch that. Squatch Topic PA. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, he says,
Can
I used to find gifted peanut butter jars with improvised moss filters in running water. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Now, see,
Wow.
that's why I wondered why I wasn't finding them more toward the end. Because at first I would find most of them, and then each year kind of got less and less. It was like, are they using them for something, or what the deal was?
So that was really interesting in that area that we were in, where that culvert pipe was moving around, where they were carrying it and moving it. That same trail, when we were walking that trail, it actually wasn't a trail. It was just like, it wasn't a trail. It was their path that they made, and we were walking on their path. You could see these paths cut through these woods, and you could see it was natural because it was very narrow. But we were walking on their footpaths, basically. And we were walking, and Brian's in front of me, and it's very sunny. It was a very sunny, beautiful, warm day. Not real windy. It was breezy, but not windy. But we were walking, and all of a sudden, I'm looking down for evidence, things that I'm looking for, and I see this very brilliant colored rainbow, like off to the side, right next to me. I'm like, what is that? And it's like if you were to take like a glass and hold it up to the sunlight, and it will send out like this rainbow, or you'll see a rainbow in water, whatever. This one was very brilliant, and I stopped and I go, what is this rainbow? And I'm looking up because I don't know where this light's coming from, because I'm thinking it's coming from somewhere above me. And I told Brian, I go, I just saw like a rainbow thing right here, right next to me. And I believe, Brian, that was when you turned around and you said, well, I feel daggers in my back. And so Brian had taken his camera and he did like a selfie, but raised it up to shoot behind him, because he had captured in the past and did the same kind of photograph and caught 3 of them behind him when he had that dagger feeling in his back. Isn't that correct, Brian? You speak to that, but.
So
Yeah,
do you think that's when they're
sure.
looking at you, or what's the description of the daggers in the back?
Just like when you can feel somebody's, like, you know how you are when you're in a room and all of a sudden you can feel like somebody across the room's looking at you. So you kind of look over to see that's
Who's looking at you?
really, it's like, oh, they're not happy with me about something.
Yeah. So Brian had told me, he goes, well, that's what we call a shimmer. And I was like, what? The first time I ever heard that. So that was
the rainbow?
Yeah. It was I believe, cloaked. And right when Brian was saying, I feel like something's around me, daggers in my back kind of a thing, that was when he was shooting by a photograph behind us. I don't know if you looked at that photograph, Brian. Yeah, but.
Oh, remember, I went to look for it on my phone. Cheri saw me taking pictures and pictures and pictures. And I go back to look through them and I got 4.
Right. Get that.
So the camera malfunctioned on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I didn't know that, but I remember you telling me that yesterday when we were talking, Brian, about your photographs missing. And I'm glad I had mine. Anyways, we continue our journey, and we got up close to where we parked the car, and it was on the gravel road there. So we were standing on the gravel road because Brian wanted to show me where the original sighting was that he had, that he talked about on the last episode, last couple weeks ago. And we were looking and scanning the woods, right? And we were talking, and all of a sudden, this cloaked being came rushing out right at us, stood right on the other side of that road, and then jetted to the right. And I was like, there's something here. And it kind of freaked me out because it moved so fast and got right in front of me, or us. We were staying together. And then it jetted to the right. And I said, I think it was time to go now.
Yeah, but she took a big step back and gasped. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. It was like, what the heck is going on here? So I think maybe if we would have stayed longer, they might have been a little more active. I could see that area because we were in midday. I mean, we were like very bright sunshine and all that. But I could see where in the evening at night, this got to be a pretty interesting experience at night.
Mm.
How
I just want
exciting.
to thank Cheri real quick for going with me, because it's one thing to tell people about it and show pictures, but like when I sent Brian the pictures of the tracks in the snow, and then
Yeah.
for Cheri to be able to see how long a stride that would actually take. It was like,
Yeah.
it'd be what, a 7-8 foot.
Oh yeah, easily. And what was interesting, the terrain is hilly, right? But you could see when they walk on flat ground, the stride is pretty apparent. When they're on a hit, like walking up an incline, you can see how they had to dig in. Remember, Brian, we were looking at those prints where the toe prints were deeper when they were climbing the incline. You remember that? We were looking in the beginning of the
Yeah,
of
we
the
weren't
event.
there 5 minutes, so she picked right up. I didn't say anything to Cheri about you're going to find this or you're going to find that, because I wanted her to see what she picked up on. You know, cool. I didn't want ideas in her head. She had stuff left in her face, like, okay, there's a path there, and I'm like, yep, that's one where they walk and where I found a bunch of bread.
Yeah, it was an incredible adventure. And Brian, I thank you so much for sharing that with me, because I know how it's very sensitive topic, but it's also very important. And it feels like you shared something that was very important to you, and I appreciate that opportunity.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Believe it or not, it felt like there was weight lifted off my shoulders, because
Oh,
who probably knows more than I do about it was out there and picking up on stuff and you saw stuff I didn't. So it's like I told Cheri, I guarantee I missed more stuff than I find.
well, it was so much. There was so much there, everybody. It was very overwhelming. The information it was like information overload. There was evidence everywhere.
Mm.
Very active.
Got a question for both of you. Now, you guys were talking about when you guys were out there and you happened to hear cloaking and everything. When I was actually out there, I heard some whistling. Now, I'm wondering, when you hear the cloaking and the whistling, okay, and it's possible, in my opinion, that it's almost like, for instance, how a white-tailed deer lets the rest of the deer know that there's danger, and they're waving their white tail as a flag, right?
Yeah.
Well, with the whistling and everything like that, I'm wondering if forest people or even Bigfoot, whatever, they do certain whistles or whatever to let warning signal to say, hey, there's something out there that's not normal, if it's a human or what.
Very
Maybe that's
interesting.
the way of communicating, hey, there's danger, there's something out there. And I think the cloaking and maybe that whistling combined might be something. It's just a thought.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, Kevin, because, and I'll go back to the Native American history, at least on my side. When we would hunt, we would never speak out because we would frighten the animals, because it's not a sound that you would hear. We would whistle. We would say a whistle, and a certain whistle meant it's over here, or it's over here, because we didn't want to alert the animals that we were hunting by saying, hey, here we are. So we would do whistle patterns, and in battle, we would also use them.
Right.
So when we were scouting and we saw the enemy, we would sound like a certain bird, like we would make a bird noise. Yep.
Right. And I think maybe they even catch onto that. I mean, they're not stupid. I know that. So now, that's why probably most hunters, we use hand signals and stuff like that. We don't even make noises now, especially, when you're out in the woods, because they, especially when you have the geothermals and stuff like that going up on hot days and everything like that. Just like certain animals can smell us in the heat. And that's why I was even going to say, when you guys go out, Sasquatching and stuff like that, I actually like to check out north-facing slopes, because that's when, as an elk hunter, everything else, I hunt those north-facing slopes through geothermals, which I probably shouldn't say that because there's probably hunters out there that probably like, oh, well, don't give our secrets away. But I already said it. But when you do, check that out, Bryan and Brenda. When you guys are out there, check those north-facing slopes.
Yeah,
Something
it's interesting.
tells me that there could be possibly evidence. I need to get out there more, especially here in Colorado. That's where a lot of people go, and that's where we come across those big X's. You go to Bigfoot of Colorado, and you see all those pictures. That's the reason why I think a lot of people are getting those certain places. Because that's where elk like to hang out and stuff like that. And if these things are hunters, that's where they're gonna be.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Kevin, because some of the things that I have found at my site, in my area of my experience, even in the structure itself, it would even face north. A lot of the structures that I was finding, and I mentioned this before in the past on some of the podcasts, is there's always a positioning of the way the longest stick that's used, it always seems to point to the North Star. So, and that North Star stays stationary. So somehow they have some kind of direction. There's something with their navigation that is based on that. I believe the North Star navigation. They're using this.
It has to do with the north facing, just almost like a compass, how it's always facing that north, right?
Correct.
There's something, yeah, exactly. There's something in that, or maybe like even demonic Bigfoots, like the one I came across. It wasn't I don't think she was nice. I mean, come on, when you show the red eyes, that's there's a reason for that,
Wow.
But
he is female, I'm just saying.
What's that again?
He's female though, so I'm just saying, we will protect our babies.
He could have been a male, who knows? But whatever it was, I think it has something to do with the geothermals and the north facing, and why, like you said, why this is going on.
Well, if they're migrating, if they're a migratory animal, they will use that as well. The north, they will migrate along those paths. So yeah, I would agree with you that there's some connection there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
Yeah. Bryan,
Bryan, do you see this picture I just brought up? I just kind of showed your two footprints in the snow. To me, this is a great picture. I mean, does everybody see it, or am I crazy?
No, it's great.
Yeah, that was very, and if you do come up, Bryan, we'll hit that spot.
Oh, I am.
My friend went back earlier this year before the flooding when it was nice out, and he went toward evening and he got growled at and run out again.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
They're still there. That was a very angry parent because we had what I call a playpen, and when Bryan comes up, I'll show it, but there was a log cabin type. I don't say log cabin, but you know how log cabins are stacked?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There was a triangle that were 3 trees high, built down in the valley, and only part of it was in the sun. And I happened to look down and see it. And that's when we heard a knock. And my friend knocked back. And then we hear another knock. And this goes on for a couple minutes where they're knocking back. But then all of a sudden, the knocking gets really rapid down in where this playpen is. And I'm like, oh, it's a woodpecker. And he goes, like, no. He said, I just saw brown down there. There's babies. And then all of a sudden we heard a tree knock way off. And then we heard a whoop and a whistle from different directions. And he's like, yeah, we got to go. There's babies. I'm like, yeah, thanks a lot. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
And within 10 steps, they had half the distance with another knock, whistle, and whoop. And we were apologizing, walking on the way out. We're so sorry. We're not going to hurt them. We didn't mean to. And I even sent my girlfriend my GPS location. So if you don't hear from me in 20 minutes, call the cops because I'm in trouble. We did the same thing. We got to the tree line, we were turning around taking pictures, and that was when that picture was within 40 yards. So they had gone from way out to within 40 yards within 20 minutes.
Wow.
Phew, goodness.
So they were not happy.
Yes, Brian, I'm coming there, and I'm coming soon. And we'll talk after the show, but we'll lock down a date. I'm so excited to get up there. Man, have you guys been seeing the conversations? Whistling, I mean, vibrations, this spectacular. Our audience is spectacular.
Kevin, I was gonna say I think they flash they emit the red eyes when they're upset or caught off guard.
Yeah, I agree. And I think about that all the time due to the fact that I'm pretty sure I caught them off guard, because, the way I was hunting and the way that I, was kind of walking up close. Cause like I said, initially I thought this thing was a bear, and I'm like, oh, well, no big deal. But when I got a little closer and I realized how big that bear was, and it was no bear, and I'm like, yeah, this thing is huge. I don't see a 700-800 pound bear in a big round thick tree grabbing a porcupine. That just doesn't happen,
Right.
So I think they smelled me because the wind was swirling, and that right then and there, I believe I was too close because I was only about maybe 110, 120 yards, and with that wind swirling, I know they knew I was there. I knew they were there, so they knew I was there. And they're like saying, hey, maybe they felt my spiritual being. I don't know. I know they could have caught me, hurt me. But, I took that warning signal, and I knew, hey, you know what? It's time you turn around and just run for your life, because you don't know after seeing something like that. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I always point out, Kevin's encounter was shocking because he didn't believe in Sasquatch, and then all of a sudden there's a mother and a young one throwing a porcupine, and so his natural reaction is to run. But bro, you still got a picture, man, and then you came back. And we'll do this in another episode. You got a great picture of some footprints. So Kevin's really hard on himself. Like, yeah, I was so scared, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, you got a picture off. You came back when you could have gotten eaten. And it's like, oh, man, let yourself off the hook, brother.
Right. Yeah, in the crying and tears. Yeah, man, because my brain was not functioning, man. So yeah, it took a toll on me. To this day, it still plays out in me, man. And I just there's times where I wish I never would have went, but
Yeah.
I did, and I guess I was stupid for doing what I did. But like I said, if I didn't, I felt like no one would believe me, and like I said, I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I'm like, I was, like everybody else, which is starting to bother me now. I got haters and doubters and non-believers and small-minded people that come to me all the time and say, you're a liar, you're a fake. And I'm like, well, having a heart attack and having what happened to me and my legs and everything else, I wouldn't lie about something like that. Why would I want to be that scared to where, part of my body goes numb because I'm in such fear, and going back, and then later on we're getting out, and, two military guys coming to talk to me and stuff like that. So yeah, why would I be faking something like that and having nightmares? So I tell the haters and doubters, and really quick, if all you don't mind me saying, if you don't believe in Bigfoot, don't say anything. If you're oblivious to what he truly is and everything like that, don't open your mouth, because there's people out there that know they exist. I'm one of them. I've proven it. And if you guys want to keep coming at me, you know what? I say kiss my behind, because you know what?
Suck it.
I know. Yeah, suck it, because I know they're real. And like I don't wish that on my worst nightmare for anybody. for what I've gone through. Not even my worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not a hater and a doubter anymore. And it's because when it happens to you, you'll believe. And it totally,
You become a knower.
totally changed my life. It changed all of our lives because, you know, we've all gone through it. And that's why we're here doing what we're doing.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I love your story, Kevin, because you also remind me of Malin Danny Skinner. You know, he's a guy who's out in the woods all the time. He's a guy who eats squirrels. You know, we've got some hardcore mountain men out there and woodsmen. And Danny, like you, Kevin, you're a elk bugler. You go out and you scout areas for the hunters to get their elk. And Danny's out there and he's checking his beaver traps. And he doesn't believe in Bigfoot. He's been out in the woods his whole life. And then all of a sudden there's a Bigfoot right in front of him, moving away.
Yeah.
And I think about you two because yours had a porcupine and Danny's were going after beavers. Man, these things are so huge. I always picture them just grabbing a beaver or something or a groundhog and eating it like an apple. But hey, let's switch gears for a second.
Yes.
Because let's deal with a language thing. So Squatch Topic PA, who we're going to get on the show here, he just made a comment. Whistles are a threat. So throwing in whistles, throwing in clicks and pops. Like if I were to walk up to a Sasquatch, hey, I'm Brian. What's your name? He'd do some click and pop thing. And I think this is I've fortunately never heard whistles. Then if whistles are a threat and they're locating and where other Sasquatch are and they're letting them know. I just think about the ones that followed me back to my tent and then let off the Sierra sounds, letting the other clan members know that we were back in our tents. But has any of you experienced whistles and or clicks or pops, their language, so to speak?
Just whistles. Just that one or two whistle that I heard, and that was it. And that's when I happened to, like I said, take the picture and run for my life. And there was two of them. There could have been more. I don't know. But I did just hear the whistle. I've never heard any, whoops or knocks or anything, but I have heard a whistle.
Okay. Cheryl Green, you're extensive.
We had that guy.
Say again?
We had that guy from south of Gladstone. We're not going to say the town. That every time he goes out deer hunting in that one area, he has them sound off his owls, letting him know that there's more than one around him. Do you remember that episode?
Oh yeah, owl sounds big time. I've got recordings of owls not at the Garden of Eden location. Yes, and Aaron Spencer as well, right? Aaron Spencer's episode, he talked about the multiple owls coming at him, how they're going back and forth. 2 or 3 Sasquatch were running in at him, freaked him out. Good stuff.
I've heard some nighttime whistles, but they didn't seem to be threatening.
Your little person freaks me out, Brenda. Like I was there. I'm looking out the front window, the front door of Linda's mother's house, and they're like, yeah, it's funny because this is the crazy stuff. You know, we're talking like, yeah, I went to Walmart and I got some oranges and apples. And Brenda's like, yeah, the dog man was standing over there. And then this little person or something with red eyes was on the fence right there. And we talk about this stuff. Well, yeah. And the phantom horse, it ran across. And I love it. Good
funny.
Stuff.
And then
I'm glad to say, like I told you, Brian, I'm glad to say that, let you know that extensively the places I've been where the Bigfoot I have been informed by BFs that they are around and they will communicate more. So that connection I have, that when they are around, I will find that they're here. I am finding tree structures now, so they're very active in this area.
Yeah, that's right, Cheryl. Cheryl Green has just had some vocal vocalizations, right, Cheryl?
Yes. So I know there's 2 of them, one in each direction. So yeah, it's active.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
What I found
loving all of our comments. Go ahead.
Like Brian said, I had a lot of activity in Kent County. I grew up, for 30 years. We had 2 clans there. I went to Muskegon County. There's a family there. In the UP, there's 5 different locations I know of where I've got them, including a colored one. And in the location I'm in right now, towards Gladwin, they're opening up and letting me know they're here. So there is a lot out there. People are saying there isn't Bigfoot. Bryan, when I first started talking to him, was a curiosity person, but once he got the experience of listening to him and hearing him, he come back like a shocked little boy. Hey, they're out here. I'm really excited. We're finding more. There's a lot of people that are afraid to even say that they found them or heard them or anything right now. So I've got the backbone. I'm not going to let naysayers turn me away. I know it.
Amen.
So it's interesting.
Hey, check out Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot's comment. He says he was so close that OCST said he was so close that he saw lenses over the Bigfoot eyes. He could see the pupil behind the lens. The only person he knows of that has said that. So there's another aspect. If we're talking about where Bigfoot may have at times yellow eyes, and then when they become more inquisitive, like Brenda was saying, they get the orange eyes. In fact, in Aaron Spencer's season 1, episode 7, we got those orange eyes where they're kind of like this, and then they move a little bit. Freaked me out when I went back over the footage, because that was right after we were getting rocks thrown at us. We had gone all the way back in, and nothing had happened to us going in, but then when we're there and starting to move out, every time we stop, we start having rocks thrown at us. And so then right after that is when the 2 eyes appeared, and I got that on camera. So check that out, season 1, episode 7 with Aaron Spencer. Yeah, so that's crazy, guys. Those lenses, they're just so highly adaptive, man. They have so many abilities. Fantastic. I've never heard that. Has anyone heard of the lenses before?
Yes, I have.
Ooh, nice.
With another encounter,
saying
but
they're
shared with me that if they were talking about that they thought that the lens might have been some kind of protection also. So this was in broad daylight as well, and it was a close encounter, about 35 feet away, and it was very prominent that it had lenses on his eyes. That was that was what was interesting about it.
So, all right. So, see, gosh, man, that's why I love having you guys here. Josh, Tennessee Country, everybody chiming in, the George Lunsfords. Can we say? No, see, Ernie Davio had pointed out the fact that they knew of some blue-eyed Sasquatch. So I'm trying to, I always want to put everything in a box, and then every time I do that, you hear of something else. Like I want to say, okay, Sasquatch have yellow, orange, or red eyes. But then no, Ernie Davio comes along, oh no, we got some blue-eyed ones out there. And then Dogman are known to have yellow, or amber eyes. But then we got some blue. We believed it was a Dogman with NCI out there in the mountains back last fall. They were coming in. So it's like, man, every time you think you get a line on something, it blows it out of the water.
Is it those lenses changing colors?
Right.
No, just not that I know of, but we're throwing the lenses in here now with what Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot saying, and Otter. Hi Otter 3246. I see you there. Yeah, so I love this, man. We're broadening it. So think Greek mythology. Think of all these different types of creatures. Think of multiple different types of creatures. Oh my gosh, I got my fairy picture. Can I get a hold of that? I want to show you. I got a rendering of a fairy that looks close to the fairy I saw. I'm sure you've seen it before, but for the folks at home, if I can get it here. Did I bring it on? Oh, not yet. I'll have to find it. Learning all this new tech, but it's going good, eh, guys?
Yeah, I love it. It's a lot better.
Yeah. Hey, Bryan.
Yes.
Did you happen to did you talk to Russell Accord and Marina from Expedition Bigfoot?
No, I did not. Well, I talked to Russell for a second, and then of course Adam Davies. But I didn't get anything deep. I was mainly there to connect with Greg Ogles and Relic Films because on the new Bigfoot TV platform on Roku TV, they're going to have some of their feature films. So I want to meet Greg in person. But yeah, I did see a lot of people and talk to Russell for a second.
I wonder if they're going to have another season of Expedition
No.
Bigfoot.
No, it's been canceled from.
I wonder if they caught up with that injured one they were tracking.
Oh, you did ask that, and somebody. Yeah, I wish I would have asked that. Doggone it.
That's okay. Cliffhanger.
Yeah, Russell was just Russell was surrounded.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Really quick, I just had we were just talking about those eyes, and I was just thinking when I saw those eyes, they were almost illuminated, kind of like how I told you a long time ago on a different episode that we have done, and like when we see deer and everything in headlights, it's a little different. It's similar, but it's not like a deer or a bear or just any type of animal that has those illuminated eyes. It's really hard to kind of explain it unless you actually see it for yourself. And I'm trying to to explain exactly how those eyes work, but I'm also thinking now that everybody's talking about the the yellow, the blue, what do and what they mean and everything like that. Now, does it have to do with because it's demonic? Does it have to do with different type of DNA in these? Just like all of us, we have different DNA, blood types, and everything like that. Why are they able? Can they all just change color, or is it only certain ones that have the blue? Certain ones? Is it ranking? Why the color?
Yeah, good point.
I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the mood swings. I mean, if you've got a white one there and all of a sudden you make them mad, or you've got a kid there, you're starting to see their eyes, which is a warning. So is it in a mood that their body can change it? Like a salamander changes colors at times? I'm wondering if that has something to do with it, because I have seen them change from white to red when the babies get near and you didn't expect the babies to be around them.
Maybe like a mood ring from back in the 70s.
Right.
A mood ring, yeah.
A mood ring. Okay. And that's
different colors.
I would kind of agree with you, Kevin, that it could be a genetic. Also, a genetic.
Oh,
there you go, Brian.
There she is. That is very similar to the fairy that was her facial face, and right in front of my face.
Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
Was she bald?
I believe so. Yeah, I started really thinking about the detail.
Wow,
and if she had hair, it had to be more back, but she definitely had the black eyes and the balding, and that is the color of her skin.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's incredible. How big was she, Brian, like size-wise?
Size-wise, I always say the size of my hand. And remember, her head was pushed in because she was, looking at me like this, so her body was back and she's floating in the air. I believe she had wings. And so her face was the closest to my face.
Okay.
And then you guys heard that whole vibrational breakdown. I asked AI, hey, there was a fairy in my house and she retreated through my electrical system. How could this have happened? And AI gave me a whole breakdown of vibrational shifting and all of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This comment here about little people. Well, the one that I saw was could have been like only 4 foot tall, maybe.
Okay.
It was a little something, but it looked like it didn't have any hair.
Oh.
Wow. And she was blue like that then, huh, Brian?
Oh yeah. She had the bluish gray skin. Yeah, I always
Oh,
say she was a combination between an alien gray, a human, and a fairy. You know, um,
wow.
yeah, and she spoke,
Now about
dude. So whether here's the thing too, I you go back like you do, Kevin, with your encounter. So with my mind speak, I realized, oh wow, they can read English. They read that I had Bigfoots of Michigan all over me, and that's why they replied to me and said we'd rather be referred to as forest people than Bigfoot. So there was that, and then I think she spoke audibly. Reason being is because she said first thing, I've heard about you. And then when I opened my eyes to see who it was in the room, I I said, I could see you, right? And I did hear her go with
Wow.
her gasp. And then even the whoosh of her flying across and the pop into the electrical, thing that she flew into and the sparks flying.
Wow.
So she was very physical. And so the question was with the AI breakdown was, did she mean for me to see her? Did she slow her vibration too much to where I could see her and she thought she hadn't slowed at that? She thought maybe she was still invisible. What happened there? And then somebody else told me, hey, be careful. They're tricksters. That could have been a whole setup. And but yeah. Kevin, did you hear me read the breakdown of the AI thing?
I did.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. The plasma shift. It's quite amazing, that whole AI breakdown. I'm trying to look for it right now, but yeah, we're coming up on time, guys. Fantastic. Jason Finch, how you doing, buddy? Thank you. Great. He says, fantastic show tonight. Yep, I've seen that too with their eyes. Squatch Topic PA says, just try to catch up with some of these. Good
Let's
evening to
get
the whole
him on
panel.
the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get. You know what? When Josh comes on the show, I'm shutting my mouth and just letting him talk because he knows how to hit all those bullet points. Absolutely fantastic.
Brian, I got, not to interrupt, but I got one more question that I think this is probably on everybody's mind. It's been on my mind to ask you this for quite some time. Ever since you told us about this fairy that you've seen, my question to you is, I was going to ask you in person one day when I see you, but I was going to ask you, how long, in your opinion, was your sighting? How long did you interact with her before she actually went into that electrical? Mine was probably about, I would say, maybe 7 to 10 minutes watching this thing. I was just curious to know yours.
Yeah, not even near that. Mine was a quick sighting. So I had just come in the room, laid down, closed my eyes. My mind was Rolodexing. So you got a few seconds there. And then I hear a girl's voice say, I've heard about you. And I'm like, who's in the room? Who's in the house? I know the house has been broken a couple of times. Doggone those locks, whatever I was thinking. And then I open my eyes to find this physical fairy flying in front of me. And out of my mouth comes, I can see you, right? Then and then right across, boom. So from beginning to end, 10 seconds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So relatively quick, where you were there, like I always say, you rip on yourself, but man, you hung out and you came back and, pat yourself on the shoulder. I know it was hard at the time, but my goodness, brother.
Right. Okay. I was always curious to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing because I didn't tell anybody for a little while. It's shocking.
Okay.
You go, what was that? I think that's just all that ran through my brain for at least a couple of weeks. What was that? What was that?
Yeah.
What was that? What happened? What was that?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it takes time for you to process it, and then you start dissecting it, and that's the cool thing, And then I've been blessed with Sasquatch. I really have, because I hear these terrifying stories, but I've had wonderful, even with the Black River Bigfoots, who are quite aggressive, to know that they were following me and Matt Sexton that time, and that they just followed us and waited till we got back in their tents, and then it yelled out the 3 long Sierra sound. Whoop, whoop. I can't even imitate them. Just as loud as a freight train. And I'm like, that thing's been following us for the last 2 hours.
I know what that feeling is like.
Eerie.
Yeah. Hey, Michigan Cryptid says, hey, y'all. Good to have you on. We're just running through some of these. All right, guys, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up the show?
Great show, Brian.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's funny because, like, I always say this, but I gotta say it again one more time. When I started this, I'm like, gee, I hope I have enough material.
I remember the first time when I was the first write-up, when I first met you and I reached out to you and you were telling me your dream about this show, and you and I took time for prayer, and you know what, Brian? God is good, because look how your dream is. And like I said, you're so loved. You're such an amazing man that happy birthday again, by the way. And thank you for having this dream of yours, because if it wasn't for you, I would have never gotten the word out and everything like that. So I appreciate you very much, and I believe every member here would actually say the same thing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. It's
we would
all
never
about
have met each other either.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's all about everybody being able to tell their story, how it happened to them. And I love it that I've seen a fairy, because when the Bigfoot eyewitnesses or the alien eyewitnesses are a little bit timid, I'm like, hey, I'm the nutcase here. I saw a fairy. Everybody's used to aliens, UFOs, and Bigfoot. So no, it's about getting the word out and having people comfortable, because we need that information. We really do.
I do.
All right, guys.
And we're giving other people backbone to say, yeah, there is Bigfoot out there. Because of your group, Brian, and the way you're putting it out there, it's giving other people confidence enough to step forward and say, this is what I've seen, or this is what I've heard. So you really put it out there quite a bit and give people a lot of credit and gumption to do it. And that's
awesome.
From you.
Awesome. Why, thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, your encounter, Cheryl, was a big eye opener, because when you were a child and you had those idiot boys bothering you, in your instance, those Sasquatch kind of came to your rescue and they chased those boys off. So that
definitely
great show, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Brian and Cheri, for sharing your adventure.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. That'd be great. We enjoyed sharing it.
awesome. All right,
Thank you to
everybody.
all the members too.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all you members, we wouldn't have this show and we wouldn't do what we do. So let's give a shout out to all the members out there who watch this show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bigfoots of America podcast show right here every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends, and let's keep spreading the news. And Brian Barber, you stay right there, man. We're going to set up a date, all right?
All right.
Cool,
It's
guys.
finally
All
nice
right, guys.
meeting you, Brian.
You got it.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
It's nice
See you
meeting
in
you.
the green room.
Bye-bye.
I'm looking for the new button here. All this new tech. I was joking. Brenda and I practiced before this show, and they have the button like that used to be here, up here. So I think I got it now. All right. Peace, everybody. Bye.
Bye.